Hello, everybody. I am coming to you with not a lot of words tonight from Mexico City. We just finished an amazing Symphony of Possibilities class here with Dr. Dane here. I don't even have words to describe what just happened. I have no idea what just happened. All I know is that the whole world is different. It's wonderful. And I see some people jumping on. Thanks for being here with me. It's about 11 p.m., almost 11 in Mexico City, and I'm getting ready to go home tomorrow to Colorado. And in a couple days, I'm starting a 50-day online class called The Happy Idiot's Guide to Creating Wealth. And have been looking a lot at that whole topic. And really because one of the things that I see a lot, and I've seen this with myself as well, is people have tools there's so many tools out there to change your money situation, or to create more money. You might, have wonderful money coming in, and you might just like to have more, and some people would like it to change. And, for some people, where they're at with money in this moment doesn't so much work, and they're asking for something different. So wherever you're at with money, it's a big topic. It's one of those that is very judged in our world. It's probably, an area of life that has the most judgments. I guess it depends on who you ask and who you are, really, because there's a few. But it's something that just brings so much judgment about what's right, what's wrong. Hello, everybody joining me. Thank you so much for being here. And any time that you are functioning from what's right or what's wrong, trying to get something right, trying to not get something wrong, you are going to dynamically limit what it is that you can create. Hello. And so this is one of the things I've learned a lot over the years, and playing with, creating change in different areas of my life, is that the less I judge, the less I think even, the more I create, the more I receive, the more I have in every area. The less I think about relationships and try to get my relationships right, parenting, romantic relationships, family relationships, friendships, work relationships, the less I think about that stuff, the less I, make other people wrong or try to get it right or make myself wrong or whatever. And the more I just show up grateful and like willing to follow the energy, the greater my relationships become. And that's true for every area of my life, and definitely with money. For a long time, I really tried to do money like everybody else, like I was taught to do money, or like everybody else says is the way to do it. I read all the books, I did all the things, I got coaches that, helped me with my business, and was like, hey, like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. I'll do it right. I'll get it right, and it never worked. It barely worked. I would sort of eke by, and my business would grow a little bit. And I look back, and there were so many times where I really knew something, I knew something, like I knew to invest in something or take my money out of an investment or something, to create something. And I would override that knowing a lot, because I never considered myself an expert with money. And so I would look to the experts to try to see, what they could teach me, what they could tell me, basically to, it's like, hey, tell me how to do it right and I'll do it right and I'll get it right. Has anybody else ever tried that with money or with anything? Um, and the problem is we're all different. And this is one of those things that, when people write books or they, have their programs or whatever, um, hello, Turkey and India and people all over the world, Cleveland. But when people, when they, maybe somebody has succeeded in money in a particular way, and if they pass that information on to you, then it's only going to be relevant to you to the degree that it actually resonates with you, and everybody is so different. And for me, it's like when I look at what I do with my money and how I invest it and whatever, it's like it's got to make sense to me. It's got to be, in companies that make sense to me. And that's just one area. Investing is just one area, but like it's I got to be working with my money and creating more money in a way that makes sense to me. Because if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter if it worked for somebody else, it's not going to work for me. And so but the thing is that we're so steeped in, this whole kind of like culture of experts, and looking to the experts and asking the experts and finding out what the experts know. And what if you're an expert, you know? And what if you're an expert on your life? What if you're an expert on your money situation, whatever that may be? Like, what if you really are the expert on your financial reality? And that might seem daunting because you might think, well, I don't know anything, or I don't know that much, or I don't know as much as other people. But I invite you to consider that, because it's amazing to see. I mean, because I talk to people about money a lot. I facilitate classes around money a lot. And I just finished actually doing a 100-day class on the Access Consciousness, How to Become Money workbook. That was an amazing journey of really like taking all of our definitions of money apart, like literally taking them apart, and just really looking at what's true for each one of us with money, which is it's going to be so different for you than it is for me, than it is for somebody else. And my theory of change really is that any area of your life that you're looking to change, if you're willing to have intimacy with you, if you're willing to have a sense of connection with you, a sense of honoring of you, gratitude for you, trust, allowance, vulnerability, with yourself, a sense of like being willing to know what which takes a lot of cultivating. But it is that, I will say, that's your greatest wealth. It really is your greatest wealth, is to be that trusting of yourself, connected to yourself, being willing to have confronting conversations with yourself, look at things, it's sort of like the keys to the kingdom. Really, it's like the thing that opens up everything is when you're willing to have that kind of a relationship with yourself. And it's the same with, in the money department. It's like if you're willing to really look at, okay, what do I know about money? What do I give to, like, what do I turn over to other people to be the experts around with when it comes to money? Where do I believe the experts, instead of actually listening to me when it comes to money? Where do I negate myself with it? And what do I know about it? Like, what do you know about money and like the having of it, the creation of it, the receiving of it, the um, accrual of it, that the investing, like all these things, the being of it. What do you know about that? And again, this might be a conversation where you're like, nothing, but of course we know that's not true. And you wouldn't, if you really truly had that point of view, you wouldn't still be listening to this, to this video. You would have turned it off a long time ago, because you wouldn't be interested in what I'm saying. Right. But sometimes someone says something that invites you to something, it like might help you remember something that you knew, or that that you didn't realize that or it might, just there's different ways that we can inspire each other and invite each other to know something different, be something different. And I really would like to see a world where people that are different, people that are willing to function more from these kinds of things, to have more of a connection with themselves, to have more of a sense of kindness for themselves, to have a level of caring about the earth and about other people. Those are the people that I would really like to see having money. I'd like to see money in the hands of people that actually are interested in creating a greater future. And the thing about that is that the creation, like the dedication to the creation of a greater future, is actually, amazingly enough, it's one of those magical pieces, one of those magical elements that actually brings money into your world. There's a lot of magical spaces and that we can be, and that we can choose, and like energies that we can work with, and things that we can have, and be in our own worlds that actually magically invite money into our worlds. And it's kind of like, I know for me, like money shows up so much more money, more often, with more ease, when I'm actually not really thinking about it. And it's not about ignoring it or denying it, or, pretending like it's not there, or, plugging my ears and being like, la, 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 it's not about that. It's not about denying it, but it's about going, yeah, I'm present with my money. I know what's going on with my money. I know what I have, what I don't have, like I know I have a picture of my financial landscape. And I also trust myself, and I trust the universe. I trust the creation, what I'm creating. And but my priority is the creation of a greater future. My priority is having a lot of fun in my life. My priority is beautiful, relationships and conversations with beautiful people. My priority is enjoying my body, like, contributing to other people. Like there's so many other priorities that I have that are actually what I would like to be doing with my time and energy. And the amazing thing for me has been, like, the more I lean into that, the more I choose that, the more I do that, the more I prioritize all of those things, money just comes surprisingly, naturally, organically, beautifully, like magically, and I have, I've exponentialized my income many, many times, from using the tools of Access Consciousness, and from a lot of the stuff I'm talking about, like from really having these, getting vulnerable with myself, and having these conversations, and not just having the conversations, but actually making the choices that match those, to be like, I'm going to trust myself right now, instead of listening to somebody else that isn't me. I'm going to actually trust me and what I know about this, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it isn't, um, if it isn't something that the experts would agree upon, I'm going to trust what I know. And I can look back and see, like, there's so many times where I, wanted to make an investment, but I didn't because somebody advised me against it, or I wanted to pull money out of an investment. Same thing. I didn't because somebody advised me against it. And had I done that, I would have had it would have changed my financial world dynamically, in a positive direction, So, but it's sort of like, in a way, it's kind of like all you have to go on in a way, which is actually the good news, is what you know. Is like, you can call it your intuition, your awareness, what it is that you know. That's what you have to go on when it comes to the creation of money. Now, that might seem like, oh my gosh, that's terrifying because I don't know anything, but this is why, like, being in if you'd like to actually get money to work for you, I called this why when you can't get money to work. If you'd like to get money to work, um, there's some things that I would, everything I've said so far. Hey, Linda, um, is part of that. And for me, the thing that has really changed money for me and really allowed me to create a lot more is getting really present with it, present with myself and present with my money, and money as a topic, basically, because the more you let go of all of your points of view about it, the judgments that you have about it, the need to get it right, the need to not get it wrong, all these things that like inhibit the flow of money in our world, actually, the more you let go of everything, it's basically like everything that isn't you in regards to money. The more you just let that go, let that go, let that go, let that go, and be present with, okay, what am I actually asking for here? What would I actually like to create? What do I actually require, to have as financial flows to have the life I would like to have? Most people don't even know what that number is. That's a really important piece of information. So it's like, what do I require? How would I like to create that? You don't really have to know the how, but like have some ideas about what's fun for you, what you enjoy doing. And be willing to be so present with it that what's going on, where you're sabotaging yourself, where you're actually stepping into something greater that's actually going to create more. Because sometimes we make these energetic changes that they don't show up, they don't actualize until later. There's a time lag sometimes between having changed something energetically, which actually really changed it, and having it show up. And in that time lag, we actually have to trust that it's on the way. And that's a whole practice. That's like a muscle that you can build. It's a whole practice in and of itself. So there's a lot of pieces here, that I'm just kind of like tossing out. But the piece that I want to really hone in on, and this is one of the things that we're going to really dive into in a lot of different ways with a lot of different tools in this 50-day program of the Happy Idiot's Guide to Creating Wealth, is actually you. It's like, what do you know and what is true for you in regards to money? Because if you start to get rid of everything that isn't you and you start to really step into what is you and know what that is and what you are and who you are and all of that, if you really start to like have the audacity and the courage to be that present with yourself around a topic, an area of life that has so much charge, and people tend to go into so much trauma, drama, and computation around it, but none of that creates greater financially. So it's like to have the patience, the presence, the tenacity, and the courage to explore a completely different universe with it. You will be blown away by what can happen financially. And I have been absolutely like, I tried so hard for so long to get money to move into my world, like more money to move into my world. But I was trying from somebody else's universe, a lot of other people's universes. And it did never really work. I would just like pray. I'd be like, universe, please, can you bring me, X amount of dollars per month or whatever. But I had no curiosity about what was true for me. Hi, Lucy. No curiosity about what was true for me. It was more like, I don't know anything. I'm going to listen to these people. But that's a diminishment of, how your financial possibility in your world. And so when you really start to trust you and know and stop using your mind, which is that's actually kind of a very tall order. It's quite challenging to function from beyond your mind, but it's possible. And I would say I have more of that every day in a most wonderful way. Um, it is the most liberating thing that I choose on a daily basis, is to let go of my mind more and more. I get happier, my life gets more wonderful, my money flows increase, my business grows, my relationships are easier, my work, like everything is better, everything is greater. The more I let go of my mind, the more I literally don't think. And because you can function from awareness, you can function from energy. To me, that's what I would call being a happy idiot, is functioning from that space, like the joyful space of not having a mind, not thinking, not computing, not judging, not trying to figure out, not trying to force something into existence. It can be an incredibly joyful space, that that is it's so how do you keep the mind away? It tends to kick in way too often. Yeah, well, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of tools. I know, Audrey, a lot of the tools of access consciousness. Interesting point of view is one of my main tools that I committed to using it every day for a year, with everything that I could possibly use it with, and I did. And it worked. It works. Your life will be completely different if you commit to that tool alone for a year. Your life will be completely different. And there's a lot of other pieces with this too. And I would say also, because to me, this space of like being a happy idiot, it's part like it's very much an X-Men conversation. So X-Men is a specialty area in access consciousness where we really look at like being different, people that function really differently, where their brains actually function differently, and your mind and your brain are not the same thing. But your brain actually functions in a different way than most people. And those people are made wrong. They're diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, OCD, autism, mental illness, all kinds of diagnoses that people get that are quote unquote X-Men. But X-Men are actually, the perspective that we play with in these X-Men classes is that X-Men are like the evolution of, part of the creation of a future. And so functioning without your mind is actually a capacity that X-Men have, even though it doesn't seem like it sometimes. But once you get into really into the conversation of the X-Men conversation, you can you can um, you start to just your mind just starts to go away, I would say. That 2-day X-Men class really takes apart the mind in a beautiful way, and I always am in awe of, just at the end of it, seeing I facilitate that class and seeing people have so much less judgment in their world after 2 days. It's quite amazing. So that, to me, that's part of this happy idiot conversation. But it's also a choice, and it's also recognizing when you are thinking, judging, computing, stop. Like you're about to diminish. If you're looking at money specifically, it's like when you go into computing, thinking, trying to figure it out, trying to project, how am I going to have enough money? Like, because all of these things that we do, or like expect a certain amount of money and then it doesn't come because you expected it. Like all these things that we do, and a lot of it is like trying to figure out how to pay for things. None of that's relevant, actually. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but none of it is actually relevant. Um, in this, in the context of this conversation, because it's not really up to you to figure out how. It's up to you to be the energetic being that you are and function from that. And as an energetic being, X-Men creature, happy idiot, you have so much awareness and you know so much about creation and you know so much about you actually know a lot about money and receiving, but it's in a way that it works for you. So a lot of times, most of the time, we don't value that because it's you know it's sort of it doesn't seem like anything, it doesn't seem that valuable because it's just me. It's just little old me, which is why I gave up on myself so many times when it came to money because I was like, I don't know. I can't know. I don't read Forbes magazine. I don't study the stock market. I don't, do it like my dad did or like, anybody else does. Like lots of people have influenced me with money in my life and I don't do money like any of them do, you know? And for the longest time, I told myself how wrong I was until I stopped. And that's the thing is when you're going down that path, you've got to catch yourself. This is why you got to be present and stop. Stop doing it. Just turn yourself around, stop and use the tool interesting point of view, which basically, if you don't know that tool, it's just a way to kind of like melt your barriers and actually turn your mind off just to go, interesting point of view. I have this point of view and say that until you get to a level of space. So anyway, I'm going way more into this than I thought I would, but thanks for being here with me, everybody. This is just like is a beginning conversation. And we're going to dive deep into this in the Happy Idiot's Guide to Creating Wealth. I've missed, yeah, it's funny. Linda said she's missed these money conversations. And I'm like, yeah, we did the money workbook for 100 days and it's been like a week or something or 2 weeks, I don't know, since we stopped. And I'm like, let's get back on it. So this program is going to be, it's 50 days. It's 20 Facebook Lives and 4 Zoom calls. So it's almost like, it's basically kind of like some sort of touch point every other day for the most part, whether it's a Facebook Live or a Zoom call, interactive Zoom. And there's a Facebook group and we're going to be playing with this. We're going to be playing with this X-Men universe when it comes to money, a week or a million years. We're going to be playing with knowing what you know and really like strengthening the space of that dynamically. We're going to be playing with the How to Become Money workbook and the Advanced How to Become Money workbook, Access Consciousness tools, and a lot of pragmatics around money, like knowing how much you're asking for, knowing how much you require, knowing what you would like to create. So a lot of very pragmatic conversations, like getting you into the space of knowing. My target for this is that everybody who is part of this program actually has a much greater sense of what's actually true for them in regards to money. Because if you function from that, you will create so much more money than you will functioning from anybody else's universe with it. This is why when you can't get money to work, that's why. It's because you're not being you with it. You're not functioning from your space with it. And most of us have never had somebody invite us to that because our space with money is just completely different than everybody else's. And nobody talks about this stuff. So it was like, I would like to spend 50 days diving into this and using all these tools. And my target is really that, anybody who desires to, by the end of this, really has a much more substantial sense of their own space with money. Like what is true for you? It doesn't matter what's true for me or anybody else. What's true for you financially, with wealth, with cash flow, with revenue streams, with assets. And you actually are creating it, like going for it, I'm really excited for this. I love money conversations. I like money and creation. I just really, really enjoy. Very much looking forward to it. So we start on Thursday. The first Zoom call is on Thursday, and then it'll be followed by some Facebook Lives and, another Zoom call. I don't know, maybe in 10 days after that or something. There's a schedule. I just don't know what it is beyond Thursday. But you are invited. And the link to join is heathernichols.com/happywealth. Yeah, come along and let's blow some universes open in regards to money, wealth, cash flow, receiving, being, knowing, perceiving, receiving, like having a fun reality with money that includes you truly, and it includes lots of money. Because why not? I mean, you could have a lot of money, you could not have a lot of money. Both are a choice. For me, it's just more fun to have it. So why not? Okay. Thanks everybody for being here. I hope to see you on Thursday. Bye for now.